It's called A Night Like This. Pure tin pop now. This is called In Between Days. single as well. This is called The Walk. This is called 100 Years. Thank you. It's called Sinking. This is all sweaty. Why don't I pick it up? This is called 6 Different Ways. Thank you. This is called Charlotte Sometimes. Islands. Yeah, so old that it was... I was going to make a biblical reference then, but I couldn't remember it, and it would be so...
And I'm
see you again, and happy Christmas, children.
Larry the Duck, and welcome to LIR 92.7. It is my pleasure to be sitting next to Robert Smith of The Cure. Hello, Robert.
Hello.
Welcome back to New York.
Thank you very much.
Now, right now, we're talking during a promotional tour that you're really doing prior to going back on tour this summer.
Yeah, this is the first time ever I've done one of these promotional visits, and I'm not enjoying it very much, unfortunately.
What have you been doing the past few days?
Just like endless interviews. I've been sort of coerced into it because certain people over here think that I should be seen to be more amenable towards the media in general, more sort of accessible. So I thought, well, as I've never done it before, I'll try and see how it turns out. Also, because a lot of people have wanted to ask The Cure about certain things, and it would only mean that when we come over to do some concerts here, my days off would actually turn into press days, which makes me go a bit peculiar, you know. I give very terse, short answers in days like that.
Is it better to get the press over with now and rest the voice for the tour?
Yeah, it's. I mean, that's the only thing that keeps me going. It keeps me sitting in this room answering questions, thinking that when I come over here, I can say no to every single interview request.
How do you feel about the media? I mean, we could take the British press and talk about them for a second, but America's a hard nut to crack. And how do you feel about it?
I don't really see it as a nut to crack, though. It's just I always think like interviews are just, if people are interested in The Cure's perspective on what The Cure do, it's really, the interview's just a means of communicating that. You know, it's just another form of communication. I never think of them as like gratifying the cult of personality, if you like. I don't want to become someone too well known as like a media personality. Because I find it very tedious. I also I would find it very difficult to carry it off as well.
Well, I know I'm going to make it very painless on you, because I'm glad you brought that up, because I brought some listener questions with me, and we'll get to them in just a few minutes. But first of all, I want to congratulate you on Boys Don't Cry being top 5 in England as we speak right now.
Yeah, and the album going straight into the top 5 as well. It's good. It just shows that you don't need all the attendant hype, you know, sometimes. We've got a very devoted following. That sounds really sweet, doesn't it? This retrospective record with the singles on it and like the video with all the old videos and stuff, it's really there for either for old Cure fans who want to replace their original record collection with it. It's also, I think, more aimed towards people who imagine we started with the Love Cats. It's like going to be a revelation for a lot of people to find that we were making singles as far away as 1978.
I think it's great that you've re-released a lot of this material, and there's been a lot of talk of a track, let's say, like Let's Go to Bed, becoming a top 40 hit in America.
Yeah, I'll wait and see. I don't really know. Again, that side of it, it's nice, like in England, to see it going to the charts, because it's sort of we can sort of smile knowingly at people who've written us off like year after year, saying this must be the last year of The Cure. But in America, it's very different. Things work in a different way, and I don't even pretend to understand why things get into the top 40. I've got a sneaking suspicion they get in because they're extremely banal and very tedious, in which case we don't stand a chance. But there are an awful lot of things in American music which I despise, but then I imagine everyone that likes The Cure in America also despises it.
What do you despise the most, the way pop music sort of goes round and round here in America?
Just that I can't distinguish between when one record ends and another one starts. It's as bad as that sometimes, you know, and it's awful that people seem to use music in America. I mean, it's true everywhere, but it's just more evident in America because it's done in a far more obvious way. That like groups are used as vehicles to attain success. No, there's almost no thought given to the content of the music or the attitude that you should have when you're making records or performing to people. It's taken for granted that you're in a group because you want to be famous, you want to be successful, and it's I think that's why The Cure seem to be different in that we've never had that. It's always been very, very low down on our list of what we want to achieve with the group.
Robert Smith of The Cure is with us on LIR 92.7. So as we're talking about the singles package that just came out on Elektra Records, I want to quickly bring this up to date. There's a new video that's coming out at the end of June, I believe.
Yeah, as soon as they can get it out. It's out in England already.
Now, this is an interesting compilation now. You worked with Timothy Pope putting this together.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, it's got a bit of a story. The videos, which is pretty much the collection plus... You know what it reminds me of? Is this pretty much the cassette, the import cassette that has the extra tracks on it?
Yeah. It's, what it started off as being was I thought it would be nice to have like a sort of a documentary, but well, originally it had a dialogue. It had me explaining like what we were doing at particular times, because there's footage on the video. It's not just the promotional videos. It's also like home movies. It starts off with us playing in Crawley, where we grew up, in the bandstand in 1977. It's like, some of it's hilarious. The stuff that we look really foolish, and like, even more foolish than we look now on some of the old stuff. But it's again, it's sort of almost deflating the myth of a group, you know, because like some of the things in there, like if we were really too concerned about our image, if you like, you know, 99% of other groups wouldn't release a video with some of the stuff that's got on it, and because it does make us look very, very dubious, some of it. But I think it's funny. I've watched it, like obviously, like after, you know, during the actual compilation of it, and since I've watched it probably about 10 times, and there's certain things in it I still laugh at.
So this is in a way like a home movie for you.
Yeah, it is. You can watch it, and it's like from beginning to end. It's like 10 years of The Cure, and you can see how it's changed. You can see how the people have changed, like how my face has changed more than anything, and also obviously the content and the style of what we've done. I just think it's very entertaining. It's more entertaining than the average video. It sounds like a real hard sell, doesn't it? But it's not meant to be. It's just because it doesn't concentrate on the more glamorous side. You know, people always want you to, you know, they usually make videos like MTV, it's all people preening and saying, you know, like, somehow we're demigods, you know, we're completely different from the real world. Whereas this video, you can see that we're, you know, at times less than normal rather than more than normal.
That's okay. I'll give it a little more of a hard sell for you, because I'm sure a lot of your fans would really like to get a hold of this. It's called Staring at the Sea, The Images from The Cure, available on VHS, and pretty much you will find most of the singles on here, close to me. Are there any B-sides on here? No, there are no B-sides on here.
No, there's a video for every single, all the 13 A-sides that we've done. But 1015 was a B-side, but there's a couple of other ones like Play for Today, which we just made videos to for no particular reason, just because we used to make 2 in a day because it saved money. You know, we made a Forest and Play for Today at the same time. So I think it was with the idea that were we to release a second single of the 17 Seconds album, it would have been Play for Today. So we did the video just in case. And similarly with Other Voices from the Faith album, we might have released that as a single, but we didn't. So it's good that we did them, because again, they're different moods, and that you can see us actually changing physically through the videos.
I remember the first time we debuted the Caterpillar video at the Ritz one night, and Timothy Pope had flown in. He was very jet lagged, I remember. It seems to me you enjoy
his excuse. Jet lag. Yeah. He's always like that.
That and a pint on the plane. It seemed like you have a lot of fun when you do videos. I certainly saw it through the Caterpillar.
Yeah, since we've been working with Pap, as we affectionately call him, it's since the Let's Go to Bed video. I mean, he's done them all since then, and he's really brought out a very sort of wayward streak in The Cure, for a peculiar kind of humour, which has always been there, but which people have chosen to ignore. I mean, particularly people who have directed our videos have tried to concentrate on the more doomy sort of the long-faced aspect to what we've done. But I suppose we've actually musically moved into a lighter area since we've been working with Pac. But then, I mean, this particular video ends with A Night Like This, which is it's quite a melancholic song, quite a dark song, but it's the first video he's done with this, which is a serious video, so it's very oppressive. It's just a repetitive image, and I'm actually just performing to the camera. We haven't done one before with him where we are actually performing as if we were on stage, but this is one that we're actually like singing through the camera. Usually I sing at the camera now.
Good evening. You're listening to a special edition of Off the Boat here at LIR 92.7. I'm Larry the Duck, and tonight's interview is with Robert Smith of The Cure.
We certainly we still had fun doing it. You know, we always get very very squiffy and emotional when we do the videos. They're good. The Love Cats was probably the most fun to make, I think. That was a real party. We actually threw a party in a house and just filmed it. We've got some brilliant blackmail footage from the Love Cats.
That's your favourite video, would you say, to date?
In between those, I think is my favourite to date, because I think it's got a naivety. It's like a really, really old sort of 60s pop video.
It's that psychedelic feel to it. Your face keeps changing colours all the time.
It's like the very early Rolling Stones films that they used to make for like things like I Love You and stuff. They're very haphazardly put together, but they have like a certain charm to them. I think that's how Pat works. He does work in a very haphazard way, but he has this innate English charm, I think.
Robert Smith of The Cure is with us here at LIR 92.7. I'm Larry the Duck, and, well, Robert, you just opened up a door. You mentioned the Rolling Stones. You must have some other influences, too.
Yeah, they're not so much an influence. I suppose I grew up with them in the house because my big sister used to follow them around. She used to wear a cowboy hat with John on it, you know. But my brother used to like Captain Beefheart. He was sort of the more weird end of the musical spectrum. So I suppose that they must have had some kind of influence on me. I used to like the way that the Rolling Stones looked when they had Brian Jones. I used to think they were really cool. But not particularly any musical influence from that period. I don't think from the 60s, apart from possibly Jimi Hendrix. We had a passing nod to him with Foxy Lady on the first record we ever did. But no, I think our musical influences are too indefinable, really. That, like, I steal from an awful lot of things, but I steal things like a cymbal sound, you know, rather than any kind of overall. Or if I hear an orchestral piece and I think that's like it's got a certain pride to it, and I think maybe we could try something that's got that can stir that kind of emotion. But generally, I don't even think about other people. Certainly, no. So I mean, any influences that we may have are really subliminal. You'd have to hypnotise them to find out what they really are.
One thing I wanted to ask you, and I know I want to get to these listener questions very soon. You were talking a lot about the period around 77 to 79. Now, I'm sure you must get asked this question from time to time, and it's a single that, if you can find, I understand it's worth a lot of money, and that's the Cult Hero single, I Dig You. Now, the reason I mention it, you know what we're going to do? We're going to play the long version of it, because you kind of threw in the kitchen sink on it, Robert. You threw in a little bit of the Beatles and Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Yeah, we didn't actually do that, you know. No, it was... It's really funny when that happened, because we got sent a tape of it by this unnamed person in Canada, which is where it originated from. It was someone in Toronto, I think, just put it together from the record. It was, and then just pressed up, a few thousand and started selling them, and suddenly it was a real club smash, and there were all this fan mail coming over to Cult Hero, who, and this bloke was a postman who was actually delivering letters to his own house, saying how wonderful he was. And the whole thing became very, very odd, because we had no intention of doing anything else with Cult Hero. But after like 6 months, there was all this interest from coming over, particularly at the start from Canada. We went and recorded a follow-up, but it was deemed too dodgy. The content was a little bit dubious, so it never got released. So it's gathering dust on a shelf in the fiction archives at the moment. Perhaps we'll release it when we've got nothing to lose, when we've terminated the Cure's career. I don't allow it to be released.
LIR 92.7, the new music station. I'm Larry the Duck, and it is a special edition tonight of Off the Boat with Robert Smith of The Cure.
Well, so what you're saying is that was never really The Cure, Cult Hero.
No, it had... Obviously, I had Lawrence playing drums and I was playing guitar, and it had Paul, who wasn't even in The Cure at the time. He was playing guitar, and my sister was playing keyboards, and Simon Gallup was playing bass, even though he wasn't playing bass in The Cure at the time. And the singer was a postman called Frank Bell, who used to deliver letters to my house, and I used to meet him in the pub, and he just wanted to be a pop singer for a day, and so we just organised a studio one night, and we just all went along there, invited a load of people, got horribly drunk and recorded those 2 songs. But it was good fun. We played live once. We supported a group called The Passions at the Marquee Club in London, and we played the top 10 from 1973. We played like old Ruby Betts songs and Gary Glitter and stuff, and then the 2 Cult Hero songs, which are the only 2 that Cult Hero ever wrote. So no, it wasn't really The Cure. It was just like an offshoot. It was a very bizarre few months when we decided to do it.
Because I had heard a story that you only performed it live once, and you did bring the Postman with you.
Yeah, we've performed it as The Cure. We've performed the song Cult Hero and I Dig It about probably 4 or 5 times in the past few years. The most recent time, and the only time that we've ever had Frank on stage with us, was at Brighton, which is like our hometown gig, really. It's the nearest place to where we grew up. And we got him really drunk and insisted that he got on stage for the encore. We went up, and it was like the most glorious reception. If people had flowers, they would have thrown them onto the stage. And we did about a 7 or 8 minute version. We did the long version, really? And I was like singing bits, and me and Paul were playing different parts of different songs in amongst it. So it was quite good. It was a night to remember. I've actually got that on tape as well.
Okay, we're going to have to dig that up from you, I guess. Robert Smith is with us from The Cure here at LIR 92.7. Before we go to listener questions, I do want to bring up one point. The head on the door had 3 Screamers of the Week. Now, did they explain to you what a Screamer of the Week is?
No.
It's every Thursday we look for the best new song of the week. And on the head on the door, we had 3 Screamers. Push, Close to Me, and In Between Days. And I just want to say on behalf of the entire audience, congratulations.
Thank you. It's really nice to know.
Good evening. You're listening to a special edition of Off the Boat here at LIR 92.7. I'm Larry the Duck, and tonight's interview is with Robert Smith of The Cure.
We have a question here from a girl by the name of Purple from Howard Beach. She wants to know, she saw the Radio City show back on November 1st and November 2nd. Wanted to know, how come you've dropped Love Cats now from the repertoire?
We've only ever played Love Cats on stage about 3 times. And I thought all 3 times it was disastrous. So for some reason, I get a real mental block about it, and I can't remember the chords, and I can't remember the words, and everyone's playing different parts. And it's a song that we really should know, because I quite often, if we're in a hotel bar or something, it's 2 in the morning, and the horrible cocktail group's finished, it would be really gorgeous to pick everything up and start playing Love Cats. But we might put it back in the repertoire, because we're playing a concert in England in June, and the bunch of horn players who played on Close to Me, the 12-inch version, are playing at the same festival. They're a group called Rent Party, and so we thought we might do a little section of Segway Close to Me and get them to play Haunting the Love Cats. So if we do that, and if it sounds good, then maybe we'll play it when we come over here.
LIR 92.7, the new music station. I'm Larry the Duck, and it is a special edition tonight of Off the Boat with Robert Smith of The Cure.
Is that the Glastonbury Festival?
Yeah, the C&D Festival.
This is really your one big festival date that you do every year? Do you do this every year?
No, we tend to we try and play a big summer festival in England each year. It's been the Elephant Fair the year before. This year it's Glastonbury. There are only a limited number. We played the Reading Festival a few years ago. That's dreadful. But there's only a limited number of venues where you can actually play big festivals in England. But this year we are almost exclusively playing European festivals. The only tour that we're doing is this 4-week jaunt through America and Canada.
As a matter of fact, I was going to mention on the last tour, not the time you were through town during the Beacon, the tour before that, that was the time period when The Walk came out and Let's Go to Bed. Now, you didn't do Let's Go to Bed on that tour either, but you did it on the last tour.
Yeah, it's a song that I've grown to despise less, let's say, as time passes. It's one of those songs that we put into the set when I feel like being a bit of... I feel like singing a bit of pantomime when we do songs like that. It's sort of a small section of light relief. It's sometimes in an otherwise very oppressive set. Sometimes we base the whole live performance around songs like The Walk and Let's Go to Bed and In Between Days and Close to Me.
Larry the Duck, this LIR 92.7. I'm drinking beer with Robert Smith of The Cure, which is always a pleasure, Robert. Thank you very much.
I do very little else.
I was going to say, these twist caps must be bad for a guitarist's hands.
Yeah, I used the opener.
And I stupidly used my hand. That's why I'm not a guitarist. Someone asked me a question. We asked pretty much the other day on the air, fielded questions from listeners knowing that I was going to come into the city and record this interview today. Tom from Westfield, Connecticut wanted to know why you're not performing any more material from the top album period.
Well, we didn't the last time we were out here because, obviously, if we're going to limit ourselves to a certain amount of time on stage, which we have to just for physical reasons more than anything else, I find it very difficult to sing for more than an hour and a half without my voice giving up. I find it very difficult to talk more than an hour kind of that. So we had to decide from night to night what we were going to play. We did actually learn most of the top, the current group. I mean, now knows all of the top. In fact, the current group knows about 90% of everything the Cure's ever recorded. The Rough Cats being the obvious exception. But we just chose not to. I mean, there's no particular reason. I mean, I really like a lot of the songs from Top. I particularly like Shake Dog Shake. Every concert we've done this year so far, we've opened with Shake Dog Shake instead of the Baby Screams, which we were opening with when we were here last year. We usually, all the way through a certain period, we open with the same song and we close with the same song. Then we figure out what we're going to play in between on the night. Because we use those as cue points, mainly for just for lights and stuff, because at the beginning and end of show. But we've been using Shake the Shake, which is what we were doing when we came through, and when the top album was current. We were opening with Shake the Shake, and I still like playing that song live. There's a few others as well. I like the actual track, The Top, and I like Give Me It. We have been performing those as well. It's just that at the time I didn't really want to. There's never any good reason for things like that.
There's also never enough time in a set to always get to what you want, but it's very democratic in terms of the song lists before you go on?
Shall I lie? No, no, it isn't really. It's usually what I want to sing, because I've got to sing it. To the others, there's a limited amount of expression, I suppose, they can put into things, from the drums upwards, so that you can only play things a certain way. So I sort of decide, I suppose, to dictate the mood depending on how I feel. But I mean, within that there is an amount of democracy in that. If I say, right, I want to play something from the top album tonight, what should we do? If the others immediately all say one song, I'm not going to say no, we're not going to play that, because obviously everyone's on stage to enjoy what we're playing. So there is a vote taken if there's a contentious song, but if it's only 3-2 and I'm in the minority, then I exercise my powers, and I just tell them that I'll sing it anyway, and then they say, well, they won't play it, so we have these sort of minor heartbreaks. But no, there's usually we're all in accord with what we're going to play, because we've usually undergone the same kind of day, obviously, if we're on tour, and so we usually feel the same kind of way. We either feel up, middle, or down. So
Robert Smith is with us from The Cure. Now, understand at this point you already have an album already recorded and ready to go for early 1987.
No, we've got a bunch of songs that we've been demoing, but they're not by any means in a finished stage, because mainly lyrically I'm dissatisfied with it. I think I have to rewrite some of it, and also I want to have more time really between taking final decisions on recording, and I want to have more time since The Head on the Door, because I don't want to make a follow-up album, and that's what's wrong with the current bunch of songs that we've got. I feel that they take too literally from The Head on the Door, and I'd rather do something that was quite dramatically different, because we've always worked like that.
So you did make the decision to go in and re-record the vocal on Boys Don't Cry?
Yeah, but that was only because we didn't have a video for the video compilation, and we had to make a video, and I thought if this was taken out of context, I'd prefer the way I sing it now to the way I sang it then.
Good evening. You're listening to a special edition of Off the Boat here at LIR 92.7. I'm Larry the Duck, and tonight's interview is with Robert Smith of The Cure.
It's been a very long tour for you, and I guess you're pretty tired. Are you looking forward to taking some time off before you really go back officially into the studio to finish up the album?
Yes, we're all going on holiday. Well, we've just spent a couple of days. We went on holiday to Venice, because we were supposed to play a concert there, but it got cancelled at the last moment by the local safety board. They decided that the venue that we were playing was unsuitable. But we are all going on holiday together with a few other people. There's about 23 of us going on holiday to France, where it will have nothing to do with The Cure. It will just be, it would be like a coach load of idiots going on holiday. So that I'm looking forward to that. But I'm actually looking forward to playing the concerts in America, because like the last time that we played here was by far the best time, I thought. And overall, the concerts were of a really good standard. And I think that the concerts that we've done this year have been better than the ones that we did last year. And so it follows on that when we come here in July, it'll be even better. And we'll be airing material that's as yet unrecorded as well, to see how an audience reacts to some of the songs that we'll be recording later in the year, and which we haven't done for an awful long time. We haven't done for about 4 or 5 years, actually, perform in front of any number of people anyway. I mean, certainly we've played like warm-up concerts or small concerts unannounced in England, but I'm quite looking forward to that, to performing unfamiliar songs in front of an audience as well as songs that they know.
It seemed like you enjoyed the Radio City date.
Yeah, it was good fun. I like that. Well, the whole thing, just like walking in there, just like in the afternoon when we were going to do the sound check, it's just one of those places you look around and you think, I disbelieved the story about the tiger that they keep in the basement. But I was stupid enough to go down and look for it.
Chris Parry, your manager, showed me a couple of venues. Speaking of venues, you're going to be playing a couple of, in France, I believe, a couple of old coliseums or amphitheaters that have been rebuilt, or restored at least.
Yeah, restored. Yeah, that's in late August, I think we're playing those. Again, we're being very sort of cheesy about where we're playing, apart from America, where we don't have as much choice, because if we're going to go and play if we're going to go and play in Dallas, there is only a limited number of venues to choose from, and they're all pretty much of a muchness. Whereas if we say, right, we're going to play some concerts in France, there's so many gorgeous places to play, and particularly at that time of year, we can play outside. And I mean, I much prefer playing outside. I think if it's nice weather, I think it's, when the sun's just going down, it's like a really good atmosphere, and everything sort of smells much better at that time of night. So we've picked these 4 concerts. In fact, there's 5. There's one in Spain as well, which are all in really old Roman amphitheatres. Very Pink Floyd, isn't it?
Well, Robert, keep the material coming. Good luck. We look forward to the next album.
Thank you very much.